Just under 2 weeks ago, I told you that it would start in 10 days. Since we then slightly exceeded that time frame and didn't see a significant increase afterwards, I was of course criticized again. Then 5 days ago, I told you there was at most 2 weeks left. That's when things have to start rising here. And again, people said, why are you so optimistic? We're only going down. It can't be that we are going to rise again now and so on. What happened? We're now almost back at new all-time highs. Yesterday, we saw a very strong increase, and I simply told you, guys, no matter what you see in the charts, look at the liquidation heat map, look at where the liquidity is, and just take a look at our M2 money supply. We are following the M2 money supply with a 12-week delay completely. Here in the background, we can see that we had a correction in the M2 money supply at this point, which is why we're seeing it now in Bitcoin as well. But now we've put that behind us. Now we're already starting to rise again. I communicated exactly the same thing to you in the trading group. I told you here that at the $100,000 mark, a huge number of shorts were liquidated. Here we came down. Now the path is pretty much clear. I told you that with a daily close above $106,000, we would definitely see $109,000. And that's exactly how it turned out. Really, really nice moves that we've seen here with Bitcoin. We're almost at a new all-time high again. If you don't want to miss out on all these trades in the future, you should join the trading group. There we get signals almost daily and support each other so that everyone gets better at trading. It's 100% free. Everything you need to know is in the description. Other than that, the breakout for Bitcoin is looking pretty good so far. We've now established higher lows. The lows keep getting higher, which is very, very positive and indicates that we're still in a nice, strong uptrend. And on the daily chart, we're about to see a golden cross on the MACD, which is also very good and suggests another major upward trend ahead. I mean, the last golden cross was right here at this point, and it brought us nearly 40% gains on Bitcoin. Now we're facing it again. That could definitely signal the next bigger upward trend. That would definitely be juicy. But there are also two positive reasons right now that likely explain why we've seen this upward trend. First, there are rumors that Donald Trump wants to set the capital gains tax on Bitcoin and crypto investments in the US to 0%. That means the crypto market would be completely tax-free, which would of course bring us a huge amount of liquidity, since citizens would have a much greater incentive to participate. And the negotiations with China are also going quite well so far. The first meeting has taken place, and today they want to meet again in London to continue further negotiations. This is also a positive sign because it's the only way we can get closer to our goal. But on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, things are looking pretty good so far. In the past few weeks, we've tapped into this liquidity down here and have now risen nicely again. At the moment, you have to say there's really not a huge amount of liquidity to the upside and to the downside, only at around $103,000. But in relative terms, that's also not an enormous amount. Accordingly, I could imagine that we might actually see the next push upward here because we've seen a lot of money liquidated in the last 24 hours. And if we look at our longs versus shorts, so up here, the ratio between longs and shorts is pretty balanced. 52% are on longs, while 48% are on shorts. It's pretty balanced, and that could definitely push us to new all-time highs, which is exactly the zone we've now reached. That means, in principle, we should see liquidity returning to the market. Even though we're almost back at all-time highs, we can still see that the daily exchange volume is decreasing. So it's no longer extremely high, and it hasn't increased significantly either, which is actually a positive sign. Accordingly, we are still far from being in an overheated zone here. That's also what I've shown you several times over the past few weeks. Here too, with the premium indicator, we're still in the negative range. This means we definitely still have plenty of room to move up here and break out, which is very, very positive. Because it's only when we enter this green zone that people really become risk-seeking, which of course gives the markets another boost. But the greener it gets, the higher the probability that we've reached an interim top for now. We haven't reached that point yet. We're still in the negative here, which is damn good. That means, in my view, we still have room to move up and could be targeting $120,000 in the near future because there's no liquidity above us and we are nowhere near overheated. Just the Bitcoin exchange flow alone looks juicy. Every day, nearly 3,600 more Bitcoins are being withdrawn from exchanges than deposited. What may have given us the push yesterday was simply that speech by Paul Atkins. He's the chairman of the SEC and he's really pro-crypto. You could really tell that yesterday. Above all, he finds the DeFi sector very, very exciting. He said that the DeFi sector embodies economic freedom, property rights, and innovation unified on the blockchain. He himself says that the SEC used to hinder crypto innovation with threats, lawsuits, and regulations. He wants to put an end to that. He wants to continue promoting this crypto innovation. He made it very clear that proof of work and proof of stake are definitely not securities. This is something completely new because in the past some protocols were considered securities, which made trading in the US really difficult. As a result, companies were sometimes unable to purchase cryptocurrencies. In some cases, it was also complicated from a tax perspective and so on. But all of that is now changing with the new SEC chairman. He especially praises smart contracts very highly here. He said that they have proven to be robust during times of crisis, since nothing could be changed on the blockchain. Everything was transparent and 100% guaranteed, and that's the point. His goal is to establish the US as the global crypto capital, to promote innovation instead of holding it back. That's absolutely huge. And that's the new SEC chairman. We have the largest, economically strongest country in the world on our side. And that's incredibly important. The US is going all in on crypto, and we are witnessing it live. And this is truly insane. USDT has a transfer volume of $1 trillion per month. That's just crazy. The trading volume of the stablecoin USDT is almost as high as Visa's trading volume. That's crazy. You can really see how dominant stablecoins have become in this market. And by now there are other projects doing similar things, like Ethena, for example. To their platform there are also stablecoins, and nowadays they already have huge use cases. Check it out. They generate nearly $6 million in fees every day. A top project. We've also been accumulating well here lately. I showed it to you in the trading community, but I also mentioned it in a recent video. It's a project that I definitely have on my radar for spot trading, and we've picked up a bit over the past few weeks because we're very bullish on it long term. Stablecoins are simply the new meta. Stablecoins generate an incredible amount of capital, and that's why it's extremely important to get in early. I mean, the chart is from June 6th, so it's pretty recent. It came out 4 or 5 days ago. Here you can see the fees generated within the last 24 hours. Clearly at the top is USD Theta. They are absolutely dominant. In second place is Circle, and then comes Ethena. $6 million per day just in fees. That's crazy. That's an enormous amount, and I'll tell you why Ethena is undervalued. Circle is in second place here, and we're slowly on our way to overtaking Circle. Circle is a publicly traded company and is valued at $28 billion. And in terms of stats, we are already almost on the same level here. Ethena is currently only at a valuation of $2.2 billion. So Circle is 12 or 13 times more expensive, even though in the end they have basically the same stats. And that's exactly what makes me so extremely bullish about Ethena. Especially if we do the math. 6.1 million in daily fees multiplied by 365. That's a year comes out to $2.25 billion in revenue that this company brings in per year. That's absolutely insane. That means in 1 year, we would collect exactly the amount in fees that matches our current valuation. Accordingly, we are obviously massively undervalued here. Of course, it has to be said that there might be weeks when we have more fees and weeks when we have fewer fees. In a fully developed bull run, we would have significantly more fees here. In a bear market, of course, less. But I just calculated using the average, and all in all, I really come to the conclusion that Ethena is a top project. Especially, as I said, in relation to the fees that Ethena collects compared to the market cap, it's way too cheap, because we also have examples like Google, for instance. Google generates nearly $350 billion in revenue per year, but has a market cap of $2.14 trillion. So really that's 6 or 7 times what they make annually. With an example like Ethena, it's even more extreme because the fees are used even more intensively here. And a company like Google has much higher expenses than a crypto project like this. And accordingly, you can clearly see from simple numbers, data and facts that this crypto project is definitely still undervalued at the moment. The only major drawback is that we still have a larger token distribution here, and this token distribution is holding us back a bit. But in the long term, I am definitely optimistic about this project, especially for the next 3, 4 or 5 months. That's why we've also been diligently accumulating here over the past few weeks. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. I want to sincerely thank you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support, and see you next time, friends. Ciao.